Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jer, and today we are talking about the premiere episode of Drag Race Season 17. This episode is called The Squirrel Games. I'm seeing a fair bit of discourse on the internet about how people did not like this premiere, but let me just say, I think this was probably the most successful split premiere that we've ever had because the queens all enter the room as one unit. I think what has been the problem about many split premieres all the way back to season 6 is that they just don't work, in my opinion. You have one group that comes in and sets the bar really high. Typically those are the people that production is really looking very heavily at, and so they set the bar high for everybody else. So the second team comes in and they don't look as good in comparison. Typically the very first guest judge is really strong, and then the second group doesn't get as strong of one. No shade to Becky G or Khloe Kardashian, but when you got Adam Lambert, Ariana Grande, or even Nicki back before all the problems, that second group just does not get a fair shake. Plus that first group in 16 got to meet Ariana, and the second group got to meet Vivacious, which is not that big of a deal. Like, Vivacious is an icon, but as iconic as Ariana Grande? I don't think so. I think what also worked about this is that they got to decide which premiere they wanted to be a part of. There was a little bit of dissension on who was gonna be in the first variety show, but I think overall this worked better than anything else we've seen before. Plus, they all get a feel for each other before the competition starts. They get to sort of figure out their alliances early. And this Raid a Queen system that's different from last season really makes this more of a social game, which I think Drag Race has been trying to slowly move towards. They've been doing that in the All-Stars seasons, making it very heavily social. The last couple seasons, they've been relying on heavy social games, including but not limited to casting multiple people from the exact same city who know each other. I'm glad that we have really locked in on a lot of these girls know each other. They're doing this in the international seasons where we've got 2 to 3 queens who all perform in the same bar together. I think it makes it a more interesting game. Speaking of games, the intro of this episode is an homage to Squid Games. And what was really fun about it was that they cast alums from across the seasons. They cast even some local queens, including one of the most rude and disrespectful queens I've ever had the displeasure of working with, who clearly had someone else do her makeup because she usually looks like a train wreck. I won't say who it is. I just had to get that out of my system because it was like a jump scare seeing her. I used to do drag for many years. If you didn't know, probably about 5 or 6. That's all she's gotta say about that. But what was really just awful about this challenge was that so many of these queens got pied to the face. I appreciated that it was cherry pie, making a reference all the way back to season 2 when those girls had to pitch cherry pies out on the streets. Like, RuPaul has a thing for cherry pie, not the queen from season 12, the actual pie. I thought it was so rude that Pork Chop got pied first, and she looked so upset about it. Her face as it slow-moed onto her was like, girl, they got me again. I just love Pork Chop. I can't believe we haven't had her in an All-Stars. It's just crazy. And also they had the clown who played Bianca in season 8 too. What a fun callback. I think the only problem that I had with it is that it works as a concept better if we don't already know the cast. This could have been a super effective and interesting way of showing who was here, and maybe that be the intro, maybe that be the teaser of who's cast. All of these queens are there, including a bunch of local girls, so you don't really know who's gonna be there, but you know the alums probably won't. So the alums all get picked off, and then it's all the local queens as well as the cast. Slowly the local queens get picked off, and then it's the 14 victorious at the end, and then it cuts there, and that's your teaser for the series. I think that would have been more effective. In any case, it was actually a mini challenge that they weren't told about, which I thought was really fun. Lexi is first in the room. She reminds me of an actress, but I can't put my index finger on who it is. If anyone knows an actress that Lexi is reminiscent of, please let me know because I cannot place who. I loved her look. It was probably one of my favorites of the walk-ins. Corey is hot out of drag. Like, looks like a 90s guy next door heartthrob character out of drag. Lydia looked legitimately like the ghost of Cherry Valentine has manifested itself in Lydia Butthole Collins. Look at these two people and tell me they're not the same. That is the exact same mug. Now, Ariete is literally wearing Cynthia Doll's confessional look, and I gagged. She's also the daughter of Irene Dubois. Lana is Lux's daughter, Sam is Trinity's daughter, and Lexi calling Sam a she-devil was... If you know, you know, and if you don't have any idea, you're probably like, why is that interesting? Don't worry about it. We're gatekeeping this year. Jules taking inspiration from Priscilla Presley is wild. Such an interesting pull. I'm kind of impressed with how young she is and having that as a reference point. Susie pulling inspo from Betty Boop and Lucille Ball was also really fun to me. I think this group is gonna be an interesting one because so many of them are just absolute originals. Oh, and also Lucky is inspired / a former ex-daughter of Nina Bonina Brown. So this is like a legendary children's season, which I love to see. I've always been wondering when the children of Drag Race's children would get on. We've had a lot of Generation Rue. I've always been waiting for the Generation Rue babies. Drag tots, if you will. The girls do seem pretty plucky on it about Hormona being there already. To me, it came off very Emily mad at Andy Sachs for getting the job, even though she doesn't look like the other runway girls and doesn't act like them, doesn't have the fashion taste, and just was naturally mad that Andy got a role that should have gone to someone better. It almost came off to me like, you didn't audition, you didn't do anything special, and you don't even look like the rest of us as far as your drag glam is concerned. Why are you here? That's kind of how it came off to me. I'm interested in what that is going to turn into as the season goes. But as far as I know, the only queen in Drag Race history who has never auditioned and got hand selected for the show was Raja in season 3. So now Hormona makes the second queen in history who's never had to audition, was hand selected by Rude to be on the cast. That's kind of major. I'm wondering what kind of clout that will get her because so far, her drag is definitely a lot more scaled back than everyone else, at least from what we've seen so far, but she's got a bright and fun personality and she doesn't really seem bothered by anybody. Even with her friction with Corey right now, she's sort of thinking strategically, like I don't want to be on a team opposite of her because I don't want her to put me in the bottom and then I have to lip sync. That was another interesting part about this particular episode and this premiere is the Rada Queen is working in a strategic social game way. So at the end of this, someone is put into the bottom by the Rada Queen. And next week, someone else will be put in a bottom by the Rada Queen. And they could use this super strategically, either to get rid of Acacia or get rid of someone on the other team. It really depends on who they're sort of gunning for. I cannot wait to see how this all trickles down. So as we move through the episode, I'm so sorry to read Mother. However, that wig was crunchy in the room mail. I am currently praying to the drag gods that RuPaul apologizes to Delta work and that Delta can come back and fix some of these wig problems. Gay men, mama. If this season wins any kind of Emmy, it's going to be because the acting excited for Katy Perry as the guest judge. Someone said on Twitter that it seemed like Katy was bothered to be there and this was almost an apology to her. I love that the main stage is back from the finale of 16. I hope they really utilize this to do something interesting with the backgrounds, sort of like what they half committed to on Drag Race Thailand. The runway category is Mask for Masked Singer. So in my brain, I was thinking, okay, we're gonna get some really big, over-the-top masks, cover up the whole face, riffing off of Masked Singer. And I don't know if we really got that, but I wasn't totally upset about it. I wanna move through these really quick because as far as I'm concerned, this first runway doesn't have a lot of impact on the overall show. This is such a throwaway category that I don't want to judge anyone too harshly early. Acacia was a snow hoe. I appreciated that she kept the mask on for a while, and that is going to be something I'm going to be ripping into quite a bit on this runway. A proper reveal is effective for one of two reasons. One, you don't expect the reveal, or two, you make the audience earn it. So a really great example that's coming to my mind is Alexis Mateo in All-Star 6, who came out in that gorgeous creamsicle gown, waited, teased, did her thing, and then revealed slowly. Where a lot of other queens just come out, they turn the corner and the reveal's gone, so we don't even get to linger on the thing. Acacia was really strong for that reason for me. Even if the look wasn't perfect. Joella is next out, and this was not a mask. This was cardboard with stuff on it. The outfit was a bodysuit with stuff on it. I was really not a fan of this look. Jules is another case of someone who lingered on their reveal for just a little bit. This was absolutely gorgeous. I love this Tiffany blue on them. The hair is beautiful. The makeup is beautiful. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Jules does through the rest of the season. Ariete was gorgeous. God, this was stunning and cool and fascinating. I love their artistry. I loved the elf makeup. I think it was really effective. And I think it sets up that we're gonna get some cool looks as we go forward. This is another queen who's very cute out of drag. Lydia didn't do a mask at all. It was a shield. But Rue seems absolutely obsessed with the fact that her middle name is Butthole. And I think that's gonna really glide her through the competition. And if we're to believe the rumors, this is a queen who makes it into the next All-Star season that they've already filmed. So that means she got right off of Drag Race and went right into All-Stars. And I understand why, because Rue seems to already love her. Lucky came out as a pizza box and a pizza slice. I think you can totally tell where her inspiration comes from and who her mother used to be, because she's giving that, but more controlled and more polished, in my opinion. I really love this look, but again, it wasn't totally a mask, it was a pizza box. But I didn't hate it in the same way I hated some of the others. Susie did an actual mask. I loved the coin. Michelle said she didn't like when the coin came off, but I love the makeup and the hair. I don't have any problems with this. I totally get the Betty Boop reference. And Rue and Michelle are old enough to know that that was Betty Boop makeup. It was quite good. It's blended well. I did not have a problem with it in the same way that Michelle did. Not that my opinion matters at all. Next out is Corey. I actually really like this look. I think it was very fun, but what is with the mask coming off right around the corner? We didn't get to linger on it at all. Harmona was doing a skunk look. It was very low key. And that's really all that I gotta say about that. Crystal had a very fun and effective look. She was doing a baby doll. It was kind of creepy. It was cute. The movements were fun. I love that the mask stayed on, and I like that there was a reveal on the hair and that the mask opened up like this. It wasn't a takeoff mask. So that was quite inventive to me. Lexi is doing a riff off the MTV logo. I adored this. It was so fun. I really enjoyed the movement and the characterization. I think the makeup reveal was fun with there being antenna underneath it as if it is an alien underneath. I liked it. This was a very strong look for me. Lana was doing a cat look. One, I love the homage to her cat. She said something like every day is a Gouda day with Gouda. And as someone who is a cat owner, I respond well to that. But the mask came off right away. Anya's mask didn't even survive a quarter of a second. It came off and was thrown off stage immediately, so that was super ineffective to me. And then overall the look was just a little bulky and didn't have a lot of shape, and it just had no focal point. But I loved her just standing there and let Rue take it in. And I honestly feel like she's gonna go pretty far because I think Rue is having fun with her energy on stage. Because Rue was making commentary the entire walk back. And next episode, will she make it to the back of the stage, was fun. I like the idea of what Sam was doing. What I really responded to was that the cloud on their head actually did have some lightning effects in there. The problem for me is that everything else was just so pageant gown expected. And in the pantheon of rainy dresses, we've seen Jeannie do it in Thailand 2, the Viv in UK 1, Maddie doing it in 14. God, there's too much Drag Race. This was probably like the most low key of all of them because the dress just was a pageant gown. And there's nothing wrong with pageantry. I guess I just expected something different for a masked look, but I like her energy a lot. So let's breeze through these first 7 talent numbers or variety numbers. Jules did an original song about having the milk. I like her humor a lot. She seems like a pretty girl who doesn't take herself seriously, and I really respond to those girls. I think like Trinity the Tuck, who was just a pretty girl but didn't take herself that seriously and was willing to act a fool and look silly on the stage. Rue was really living for the song, and so I knew that she was gonna be top 2 because of that. Ariete did an original song in Spanish, and I really like the performance as a cultural piece. We've seen a lot of cultural numbers on the main stage. I don't think we've seen one this authentically Latino, because I don't remember, I truly don't have a clue what Geneva did. I don't remember at all. I feel like she did something similar, but who even knows? But that whole season is just kind of a blur to me. I like that it represented her culture, but it was quite low energy. Lydia did a giant sock puppet mixed with burlesque, and this was crazy. A lot of people are saying that she flubbed the ending, but I did not feel the same at all. I felt like it meshed and flowed with the story, because the idea was that she was coming out of the sock puppet and she was the real thing underneath it the whole time. Lucky Stars did another performance number with their own music. I liked the vocal augmentation of the song, but I have a big singular gripe, and that is spraying stuff on the stage. Because in a real world, real drag situation, if you're in a club and you get crap everywhere, specifically water, there are going to be other queens who are going to walk on that, and that is gonna absorb into those big chiffon ruffled dresses like a sponge and ruin them. So either you don't make a mess on the stage, or you have to very unsexily trounce around. Let me just clean this up really quick. Sorry, sorry everyone. I know there's water everywhere. I'll get it. Don't worry. No, please. No. Jolene Cuisine, don't worry about coming out. Hold on, I still have to clean the stage. Hold on. Sorry. Oh my God, I missed a spot. Oh, there's water over here too. I'm so sorry, everyone. Or some person that's collecting tips has to get a rag out and go clean everything on the stage. And that's disrespectful to your bar crew. That's disrespectful to people who are not getting paid to clean up after you. And on Drag Race, there is a level of producers are there to do a job, but also that halts the show between numbers because they have to clear out your stage that you set up or that you requested from the art department. And then someone has to come out and mop the whole thing, make sure that there's no stickiness depending on what materials you use to spray. They have to dry it. They have to make sure that it is completely safe for the next performer to come out and do their job. And so I just have a personal gripe with that as someone who has performed. I think it's disrespectful to the entire show. I really like Lucky and I don't have any problems with her. I just have a problem with that. Same thing with like glitter or confetti or anything that you're just dropping everywhere. Someone has to get that. Joella did an original song which was really low key, really uninspired. I didn't like the look. This was bottom for me and lip sync worthy in my opinion. Acacia did live singing with a guitar and I thought she sounded excellent. She sounded vocally trained. What I found interesting was that her vocals were oddly low. Like whoever was doing the mixing and the soundboarding put her down here and the music right about here, so they were at the same level. And I wish that whoever was audio mixing had maybe bumped her up just a smidge. I don't know if that was a problem that happened on the main stage or if that was a post-production thing. In any case, I did find the mixing weird and I don't think that's her problem. Susie did a tap number with the Gettysburg Address in Morse code. This was so funny, inventive, brilliant, not afraid to reference or not reference. This was easily my favorite performance of the entire night and probably a top variety number that I've seen in a very long time. In my opinion, Ariete and Joella were the bottoms, but Joella was the one who did deserve to lip sync. And Susie and Lydia were my top two personally, but when it came to the runway being factored in, I think Jules just scooted up a little bit over Lydia from performance and runway. There were no critiques, only Rate a Queen, and this is a moment to be strategic, to use Rate a Queen for your own benefit to support your end game and your social game. I think some people used it that way and others just tried to be fair and judicial. There's a lot of ways that you can go about this. Do you reward someone who did well, or do you punish them for doing well so you can maybe get them out of the competition a little bit early? But if you do that, there's gonna be a target on your back when the eventual conversation happens of, so who voted for who? The lip sync was to Women's World, and I think this could have been Teenage Dream, could have been Last Friday Night. There are a lot of better Katy Perry songs out there and I'm surprised that we didn't get another one. I think Jules had it for the first half. And then Susie started doing tap and stared directly at RuPaul with that insane glare. And some people are like, this is the lip sync for your life. No, it's shoe for your life. Whatever the hell they're saying on Twitter. And these people just can say in less words. I've never been to a drag show in my life. I've never been to live theater in my life. Because a part of lip syncing is not just moving your mouth correctly, it's about entertaining and performing. And there's different ways you can entertain and perform. And after you've watched 4 other girls come out and do death drops and splits, the one girl who's doing something a little bit strange, different, and odd is gonna capture your attention because you're thinking, whoa, this is so cool and something I haven't seen tonight. And that is exactly what Susie did for me, and I imagine RuPaul as well, since she won. It was entertaining. She's wackadoo and funny and glam, and I imagine that she's gonna have an interesting storyline throughout the season. And like I mentioned earlier, this next episode could be very strategic. Who do you want to get out? Do you want to see Acacia knock out someone maybe weaker? Do you want to see Acacia get knocked out? It doesn't seem like tons of alliances have been formed already, with the exception of a couple of girls who know each other. I almost suspect that Hormona is going to be placed in the bottom because I don't think the girls are vibing with her energy. I would look at someone who got hand selected by RuPaul as someone who's potentially a threat. Someone who might get passes for not doing as well because Ru likes her and chose her personally. That's how I would look at it. So I would look at maybe getting her out early. I'm liking the season so far. I'm liking the casting. I hope the challenges through the rest of the season are fun. I would love to see some legacy challenges, since very heavily this is a legendary children's season, but we shall see what happens. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see y'all on the flip.